Hello, hello. Happy Monday, everybody. Welcome in. Hopefully, you guys are having a good day. We are here to talk Monday Night Football. We'll do the recap tomorrow. We'll go game by game. Recap tomorrow. Talk about everything. I got a lot to say. Lad and Wandale let us down yesterday. So close. Yeah, it was definitely a close day. Overall, it was a good day. Just in general. 2-1 in cash on DraftKings, 3-0 in cash on FanDuel. I said this to Matt earlier today, but Nathan, what's up? FanDuel cash games are making DFS great again. I don't know, like it's been awesome to start the year. So overall, like it was a good day. We hit Matthew Golden. We didn't get like the full ladder or anything, but the biggest play was on him over 34 and a half yards that hit. And then 50 plus that hit. But yeah, I mean, Patriots disaster class had them in a money line parlay, 5 turnovers. I don't understand what the deal is with Mike Vrabel and rookie running backs. I mean, how many times do you have to watch guys fumble before you put in the rookie that you just drafted high in the draft? I just don't. I can't wrap my head around why is Ramondre Stevenson and Antonio Gibson in these games. Like, I understand if you need to spell someone. How many goal line fumbles and turnovers on the Steelers side of the field do you have to watch? So that was unfortunate because it was a 3-teamer. I think we had Washington, New England, and Seattle. It was like 2 easy wins, and then the Patriots are just stupid. I don't think he did anything, Nathan. I think this is just Mike Vrabel is just an idiot. He did this with Derrick Henry. Go look at Derrick Henry's early career in Tennessee. It took him 4 years before they gave him the ball. I don't understand it. I don't understand how many fumbles you have to watch to not put him in, but whatever. Patriots, I guess, just want to lose football games. Should have won that game. Drake May, end zone pick as well. Drake May had a fumble and an end zone pick. Ramondre Stevenson fumble on the goal line. Like, just inexcusable that the Patriots lose that game. But that's what I get for betting on the Patriots. We also had Titans. That was a disaster. Callahan is the worst head coach in the NFL, in my opinion. We'll talk about that tomorrow when we go game by game. But when Steve and I were arguing on Friday, he was right about Indy. I was wrong about Tennessee. I was right about the Jets. Backdoor was open in Tampa, +7, never a doubt. That came in clutch. So we had Tampa +7. And then I didn't end up giving it out, but I did bet it. I had Browns +8.5. They won the game outright. Should have moneyline sprinkled that. The dogs were definitely barking in week 2, but not Tennessee, unfortunately. That was my favorite spot. Oh, yeah, and then Survivor. I split my entries. Like I said, I had 2 alive in my main pool. I split it Atlanta and Seattle. Of course, Atlanta loses, 30-0 to the Panthers. Just inexcusable loss. But the Seattle won, so I have 1 Survivor entry alive. I've never done one like once the season has been going on like this. So I'm not sure, Guru, but I've never like re-entered into one. Yeah, Eagles. Yeah, so Nathan, you said Rams Philly game, and then Ryan, you said how about the Birds? They finally lose the second half. That was an awesome game. It was a good reminder that the Eagles, like, they can throw the ball. I don't understand. I don't know what they were doing. That was an awesome game though. Super fun. Good to see AJ Brown with a big game. Jalen Hurts, big game as well. And then on the other side, I mean, Rams look really good. I can just tell you guys right now. I don't know if they have lines up yet for next week. Where's it at? Right here. Rams -3.5. This is gonna be probably my main bet for a side in week 4. Really, I'm really gonna like the Rams -3.5 here, I think. Again, I think Indy's a good team, but they're not gonna go undefeated. They're gonna play a bad game at some point. They've had a really advantageous kind of spot to start out, home against Miami, who's a disaster, and then they go on the road against Tennessee. Just if you guys just want to, and I can just summarize the 2025 Tennessee Titans in one sentence to you guys. This was the most, I know like we overreact and like overanalyze and exaggerate everything. I don't think you will see a wilder like 10 seconds in a football game this year. Listen to this sequence at the end of the half for the Tennessee Titans. And I want to pull up and get this exact yardage correct. So this would have been right before half. So the Tennessee Titans take the ball over after the Colts missed a field goal. Okay. So the Tennessee Titans get the ball 1st and 10 on their own 41. They go 8-yard run, Tony Pollard. They go 3-yard run for a first down. So now they're at the 49. 2-minute warning. Okay. They come out of the 2-minute warning. They go 6-yard run. So now they're at the Indy 48. They go 2-yard run. So now they're at the Indy 42. It's 3rd and 2. And they go 1-yard run. So they go 3 straight runs, which is fine. End of half. You're trying to burn clock under the 2-minute warning, whatever. So it's now 4th and 1 from the Indy 40. 4th and 1. Under 2. There's like 40 seconds left in the half. It's 4th and 1. Not only the Colts, okay, the Titans trot out their field goal unit. They're going to try a 57-yard field goal, okay? Instead of going for it on 4th and 1 from the 40, they're going to try a 57-yard field goal. I think that's a bad decision in its own right. But to make matters worse, the Tennessee Titans take a delay of game on a field goal attempt, and it backs them up now. So now you're thinking, okay, they got to punt. They definitely can't go for it. They can't kick the field goal. They got to punt. Instead of punting, this guy tries a 62-yard field goal with 40 seconds left in the half. Never was that going to go in. Of course, he misses it, and it allows the Colts to easily, in the next 40 seconds, go get into field goal range, and they kick a field goal. They just get a free 3 points before halftime. What on earth is that guy doing? And I would encourage you to go watch that on YouTube. Go watch that if you weren't watching that game. That was the wildest thing. Why would you try a field goal after the delay of game? And how do you get a delay of game on a field goal attempt to begin with? Actually terrible. Baker Mayfield's a legend. Yeah, another comeback win for the Bucs, but I mean, I don't care because the Jets covered for us. But yeah, another comeback win for the Bucs. Down lineman, down Mike Evans. They still came back and won that game. Poor response to a blowout for him. Yeah. Just a disaster from the Falcons yesterday. Just total and utter disaster. No other way around it. All right, like I said, overall it was a so-so day, and then we capped it off at night. We had Wandale 50 yards, Juju 50 yards. Juju gets 50 yards. I think he had 50 yards in the first quarter, and I was like, oh man, this is gonna easily, we got this in the bag. And Wandale finishes with 20. I think he had 24 yards, and it came on one 24-yard catch in the fourth quarter, like as the game was ending. Just a disaster performance from the Giants. And I'm pretty mad at myself because I told myself on like Friday I was going to do Kareem Hunt, Cam Scatterbo, anytime touchdown parlay. And I just like totally went away from that for some reason. And it won, of course. So that was unfortunate. But all right. So recap tomorrow, 4:00. We'll go game by game, talk about everything. For tonight's game, Lions, Ravens. We'll talk some DFS and bets here. overall, my thoughts on the game, and blog post will be out after the stream. I just have to publish it. It's finished. So you guys can check that out. I'll repost it on X after the stream is over. We have Ravens minus 4.5, totals over 50. It's like 53.5 right now, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, 53.5. There's some juice on the over that too. So here's my thoughts on the game. I like the Ravens here. I don't want to bet them. I don't think I'm going to bet them to cover. But I do, like, if you force me to pick a side, I'd pick Ravens minus 4.5. I think the Ravens are a little undervalued here. I think this should probably be closer to like 5.5 or 6. The Detroit Lions looked terrible in week 1 against Green Bay, and then they looked great in week 2 at home against Chicago. Kind of a mixed bag, because on the road in Lambeau with new coordinators, that's a tough spot for your first game. And then at home against the Bears, who are still figuring stuff out, that's a really good spot for them. So it's kind of a mixed bag when you think about the Detroit Lions. On the Ravens side, they're 1-1, but they gave up a huge lead to the Bills in week 1. That big comeback in the fourth quarter they gave up. And then they actually got outgained in yards by the Browns last week, but they won big just because the Browns are complete, zero offensively. So it's kind of a mixed bag for both sides. If we're just evaluating things from a team standpoint, I think the Ravens are much better than the Lions currently. I think they have a better defense. I think they have a better offense. And I think they probably win the coaching battle as well, both with the coordinators and the head coach. So all facets of and they have a better quarterback. So if I'm looking all facets of the game, offense, defense, coaching, quarterback, I'd give every edge to the Baltimore Ravens in that game. I also think that it's a kind of a really tough spot for Detroit. When Detroit plays these really like mobile quarterbacks like Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Jaden Daniels, right? Who beat the Detroit Lions in the playoffs last year, the Washington Commanders. When the Detroit Lions play these really mobile quarterbacks, I just think it's a really tough spot for them because Aaron Glenn is very, very stubborn with his defense, and it looks like he's passed that over to Kelvin Shepard. Like, they have a system, and they're not going to stray away from that system regardless of personnel or opponent. And I just don't know, like, if that's a winning strategy in 2025. I think you need to be able to scheme on the fly and have different wrinkles for different opponents. If you line up and play man coverage against these hyper athletic mobile quarterbacks, I just don't see I just don't see how that's like a winning strategy. And I know like their defense was super banged up last year when they played the Commanders in the playoffs, but even like go back further in that. Like, if we just look at like, so here's what Jaden Daniels did in that playoff game against them. He went 299 and 2 passing, 16 carries for 51 rushing, which that's not super efficient, but it's still contributing, and it impacts the entire offense the way he's able to move. Go back and think about like what Caleb Williams did against them late last season. So if we look at Caleb Williams' game log, he played Detroit pretty late last season, and he played them. He played them on December 22nd and on November 28th. On November 28th, he went for 256 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks, 40 yards rushing on just 4 carries. And then in the December 22nd matchup, he went 334 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. Again, 34 yards on 6 carries. So it's just like tough for them to defend these mobile quarterbacks, in my opinion. So I think it's a bad spot for the Lions in particular. And then I don't really weigh trendy stuff too much when it comes to betting, but there are big trends. People like to cite, Lamar Jackson's record against the NFC. It's very strong. Jim Harbaugh has a very strong record against the NFC, especially in these primetime games. He's played the NFC. I think I saw he's played the NFC like 26, 27 times in primetime games. and he's only lost like 2 times total. Josh Allen went crazy on them. Yeah, Josh Allen has gone crazy on the Lions, and we used that as reasoning to take his rushing yards against the Jets when he played Aaron Glenn last week, and he went for over 50 rushing yards. So I just think it's a really, really tough spot for Detroit defensively to match up with this Ravens offense. On top of Lamar's legs, they have 2 fast receivers that profile as pretty good against man coverage, Zay Flowers and Rashad Bateman. Rashad Bateman's fast for his size, and Zay Flowers has fully ascended, in my opinion. One of the best receivers in the NFL, super underrated. He's just primed for a monster season. He's got over 40% of Lamar Jackson's targets through 2 weeks. They're really leaning into him as the number 1 option in this offense. And dating back to when he entered the NFL, Zay Flowers has some of the best splits of any receiver in the league against man coverage. Huge numbers across the board, yards per route run, target share, just performance in general when it comes to yards and stuff. And he's been targeted, I'm pretty sure, over 35% of the time against man coverage over the last 2 seasons. And he's going to see a ton of it tonight. So really, really good spot for Zay Flowers, in my opinion. Really good spot for the Ravens offense. The Lamar in general has also been very, very good early in games. The Ravens' problem last few years has been closing out games and finishing games. They usually start very strong, especially at home. So I like the Ravens -3 for the first half. I think it's 3.5 on FanDuel. Let me double check. Yeah, it's 3.5 on FanDuel, but I found a flat 3 out there. I think it was on Bet365. Let me check. Let's check DraftKings real quick. If you can find a flat 3 for the first half, I like that. Oh, wait. I think I can just toggle. I don't know. I always forget that I have this pulled up and I can just toggle this. 3.5. 3 on Circa, 2.5 on ESPN Bet. It's -135, which is gross, but you could take that there. 3 on Bet365, 3 on ProfitX. That's really all I have access to. I don't know what it is on Fanatics. Doesn't have a line posted. But I like the Ravens -3 for the first half. Definitely think it's a good spot for Lamar rushing yards. I know, Mitchell, you said Lamar's yards at 45.5. Definitely a good spot for that. Great spot for Zay Flowers. That's kind of like the main stuff I'm looking at. On the Lions side of the ball, I do think they can have some success running the football here. Baltimore a little banged up on defense, missing Madubuike and Kyle Van Noy. Kyle Van Noy does a lot for them in the run game. So, I do think Detroit can run the ball a little bit here. Now, the problem would be if Baltimore starts really fast and kind of gets Detroit in that pass-heavy game script. That's where I think it could get a little out of hand in favor of Baltimore. So I want to see kind of how the game starts. But I do think Detroit can run a little bit on Baltimore tonight. And then I'm interested in Isaac Tesla a little bit, the rookie for the Lions. He has only 2 catches this year. Both of them are one-handed. I do think he's going to see a bigger role at some point, and getting ahead of that is going to be very valuable, because once we see it, they're really going to move up his betting lines. Earlier today, I'm going to double check if it's the same, but they had 15 plus yards at -132 on FanDuel earlier today. He can get that on 1 catch. His prop is 15.5 so it's probably, it's even better. I don't know. Let me see. It's -122. So I think 15 plus yards for Tesla is fine. You could take it up a couple levels, maybe, 30, 40 is probably where I'd max out. I wouldn't take it too high, but I do think you want to get ahead of this. Kadari, I think that's a good play for sure. If you want to do receptions instead of yards, I think that's fine. Mike, go Birds, of course. I had my Eagles stuff on. I had my Eagles hat on yesterday. Definitely interested in buying low on Tesla before we see the role change. But that's really all I'm looking at on Detroit. I do think you could mess around with some Gibbs receiving stuff if they are losing. We saw him against the Packers, 10 catches. Didn't do much with it because the Packers defense is very good. But you could alt his receptions prop. I don't know. What is his receptions line in general? Let's see here. It's 4.5. I definitely think you could take the over there, and you could probably take that up to like 6 or 7 and get pretty good odds. If they get down, could definitely see Gibbs getting very involved in the passing game, but not something I bet. I did put out the same game parlay on the blog. It was Ravens money line, Zay Flowers 50 yards, Sam Laporta 25 yards. I used a boost on it, and it got it to like plus 190. It's around plus 125 without the boost. Obviously went over why I like Zay tonight, went over why I like the Ravens tonight. And then Ravens have been a little bit of a tight end funnel the last few years. They've given up over 170 yards to tight ends this season through 2 weeks. Sam Laporta kind of does what he does. And he can get 25 yards on a catch or two. So that's what I did for same game parlay. Really like Zay tonight. And I like I said, I didn't bet the Ravens. I took them first half, but I don't know. I might end up betting them maybe when we get closer to the game. I'll think about it. Hopkins over 1.5 catches is probably fine. I'd just be worried if they get up a lot. They might not be like if they get up quick, they might not be throwing it a lot, because I do think Detroit's run defense is a little suspect. They did pretty good against Jacobs in week 1. And the Bears, I mean, just really never got a chance to run the football because they were down so quickly. Once they got down, like it was like a barrage of points for the Lions, and they just stretched the game out. But Derrick Henry, I will say, as much as I like Zay tonight, Derrick Henry is coming off his far and away worst game as a Raven, worst game in a few years. He did absolutely nothing against Cleveland. This is a much easier spot for them. And if they strike quick, the Ravens, I think this could be one of those vintage Henry games. And it always feels like Derrick Henry goes off in primetime. I don't know what it is, but he always seems to get there in these primetime games. So that is a little bit concerning for me on the Ravens passing stuff. Just because of how bad Henry was last week, I do think they could make it a point to give him the ball tonight. And I think you can run on Detroit a little bit. So that's kind of my overall thoughts on the game. It should be a good game. I am definitely expecting points to be scored. I'll just lean towards the Ravens side of things in the end. And if I was picking Lions props, it'd be like Gibbs, Laporta stuff. No JMO for me. You guys know I love to bet on JMO, but we've talked about it for dating back to like early last season. We've been talking about this. He's much better at home on the turf, much better on turf in general. If you just look at his, let me just pull up some of his outside games last year. I know it's not bad weather or anything, but it just seems like he's better at home, and that would correlate because the Lions offense, performs better at home. Jared Goff performs better at home. So obviously this season, 1 outdoor game, 1 indoor game. The outdoor game, 4 catches for 23 yards. The indoor game, 2 catches for 108 and a touchdown. If we go back to last season, outdoor game against, he only had 1 outdoor game actually last year. Oh no, he had 2. He did pretty good in them, honestly. Definitely better at home though compared to the road. So like here's his games last year. Home against the Rams, 5 for 121 and 1. Home against the Bucks, 5 for 79. On the road against Arizona, 1 for 9. On the road against Dallas, he did good, 3 for 76. On the road against Minnesota, 1 catch for -4 yards is insane. On the road against Houston, 3 for 53. On the road against Indy, 5 for 60. And then the big like spike weeks are all at home. The 100 plus and a touchdown home against the Jags. So I don't know. Probably not a JMO spot, more of a Gibbs or Laporta spot for me. Go Lions. Yeah. I don't have allegiance to either of these teams. I just think the Ravens will win, but hoping for a good game more than anything, especially after last night. That was, oh my God. That Giants Chiefs game just a disaster. Total disaster. All right. Overall, quicker stream today. Like I said, tomorrow will be a long stream, 4:00 Eastern. I'm gonna go game by game through all the games this past weekend, talk about everything, and then we'll also have the first look video for Week 4 coming out tomorrow. I think D Hop can get a tutty. He definitely can. But I'd rather go Zay. I'd rather go Zay or. I'd probably rather go Zay or Laporta if I was picking touchdowns in this game. But I mean, I definitely think D Hop could score, and it seems like Lamar's fine going to him. Like he's 2 for 2 in scoring. Well, he didn't score last week, but he's down at the 1 basically. So I do think Lamar trusts him already, which is good. Last few primetime games have been snooze fest. Yeah, we got to get a cooker tonight. Come on, 50 plus total. Can we just get a good game more than anything? Ravens -3 for the first half. I put the same game parlay out. I like Zay Flowers stuff. I like Jahmyr Gibbs stuff. I like Sam Laporta stuff. That's my thoughts. 4 p.m. tomorrow. Big recap of Week 3, preview of Week 4. And thank you guys for tuning in. Good luck tonight if you're betting, playing DFS. Oh, DFS quickly. I kind of like, I'll probably go Derrick Henry captain on a team. And then I'll probably go Zay captain on a team. Zay is super cheap on DraftKings. Top overall play for me there, far and away. I don't know why he's so cheap. He'll probably be pretty popular because of his price. But Zay captain and Henry captain for me probably on DraftKings. If you wanted to go Lamar captain with Zay and like Andrews, a couple pass catchers, I think you could do that to counteract the Henry team. But I also think you could do the Henry team in a unique way where you could go Henry and like if you went Henry and Zay and then all Lions after that and just hope that, you know, Zay's getting long balls, right? Or moving them down the field with volume. And then Derrick Henry's scoring all the touchdowns. Like that is a reasonable game script. So I think maybe Henry with Zay and then like a 4-2 Lions with Henry and Zay looks good to me. And then I'll probably do a Zay captain with like Lamar and like a Detroit running back, probably Gibbs, something like that. I haven't looked at FanDuel pricing yet, so I'm going to do that now. But overall, thank you guys for tuning in. Good luck tonight with your DFS teams, with your bets. I will be live tomorrow at 4. And I'll see everybody then.